you mentioned this in the book, and it's definitely something that I have seen as well. Why do you think there is such a concerted effort to deliberately dismiss this as some kind of oobity-goobity, just make-believe nonsense thing?
Yeah. I think because there is an agenda behind it, and if the agenda is exposed, they probably have to come up with a plan B, and plan A has been working for centuries, if not
Yeah.
millennia. And so they don't want people figuring it out, because then they'll have to regroup. It was really interesting just this morning in my devotions. Talk about obscure. I was reading in the book of Habakkuk.
The oft-book read,
Oh
off-book
my,
read of
oh my
Habakkuk.
goodness, right? And in chapter 1, verse 10, now it's talking about physical armies. It's talking about the
Yeah.
enemies of Israel, right? So it's talking about all of these armies. And it says they, so the they here is these literal armies. They laugh at every fortress and heap up rubble to capture it. So in other words, in the physical, tangible sense of war, you have got enemies. So you're building walls and you're building ramparts and you're building, the cannons inside of the crow steps, and you've got the oil that you're dumping. You've got all of these methods that if someone comes to seize your city, and it's saying that the knowledge of warfare, that all they have to do is pile up rubble and they can climb over your walls. And
Yep.
so if you want to get esoteric, where did man initially learn warfare? We learned it from Azazel, and we learned it from the Watchers. Go back to Enoch if that is of interest to you. But if we learned warfare from fallen angels, then that means that the angels on a spiritual level know how to make war with believers. So if we're building up spiritual fortresses, let's just go with the metaphor of sleep paralysis. And so many Christians I talk to, Vicky, I've done everything. I'm a genuine believer. I love Jesus. I'm walking in covenant with him. I'm a real Christian, okay? I follow his commands. I repent of my sin. I'm, it's sad how much of the phone calls have to be prefaced with them begging me to believe that they really are a Christian.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's necessitated is because if you tell the average pastor or Christian that you're suffering with this, their immediate reaction is that you've opened a door, or you're a sinner, you've got a secret sin,
You
you're
did it
playing
to
with the
yourself.
Ouija board. Yeah, you've got a pornography addiction, you're cheating on your wife, like whatever. And so let's carry the spiritual metaphor. If the demon world knows how to pile up rubble and climb up over our walls, they are laughing at our fortresses. And so
Yep.
this is why we have so many Christians that say, I pray before I go to bed. I go to bed like with an audio Bible playing. I have, my husband pray over me. I have a friend pray over me. I anoint my bedroom door with oil. I anoint my 4 bedposts with oil. We're doing all of these things, and they still come. They're laughing at the way we're heaping up these fortresses. So they've had a real stronghold over humanity with this for a very long time. And so if they can cloak themselves behind disinformation, like it only happens to people dabbling in the occult, it's a mental illness, it's narcolepsy, it's schizophrenia. Just as an aside, Kyle, because as believers, we really want to come off credible in our knowledge. And this age-old trope that sleep paralysis is schizophrenia, if I can just speak on that for one moment.
Please.
Even the medical experts in the secular fields are beginning to abandon that idea. If you go on to credible medical websites, that not necessarily the ones that talk about sleep paralysis, because those are still filled with misinformation. But if you go on to credible medical websites that talk about schizophrenia, if you go on to schizophrenia message boards, if you ask AI, what's the link between sleep paralysis and schizophrenia, what it will tell you once it has gathered all of the algorithms and put together a summary for you is that about 15% of diagnosed schizophrenics, people diagnosed with schizophrenia, 15% of them will tell you they have sleep paralysis. So that leaves 85% of diagnosed people with schizophrenia that don't have it, right? And so we have to get away from these Neanderthal copy pasted narratives that we've just heard our whole lives. The fact of the matter is sleep paralysis and schizophrenia have some similar experiences. People with sleep paralysis will have visualizations, they'll hear voices, and so will people who are diagnosed with schizophrenia. But that doesn't mean every single person who has a sleep paralysis attack is schizophrenic, or every person who's been diagnosed schizophrenia is going to have sleep paralysis. So that's just one example. And I want to slip that in there, Kyle, just because I'm getting a lot more comments like that on my social media, from people trying to be helpful, I presume. We all have to be good Bereans, but it's like, no, this has nothing to do with trauma. It has nothing to do with PTSD. It has nothing to do with abuse or ritual abuse. It has nothing to do with the demon world. You are schizophrenic. And we just have to start becoming intellectually honest. In an age now where so much information is available to us, we have to start, in the medical field, as well as in the church, as well as consumers of information, we need to start being more intellectually honest about these types of things. There's definitely a physiological aspect to all of this. We're mind, soul, and body. We can't separate and compartmentalize that. If we experience something, our mind, our soul, and our body are all going to participate in that in some way. Yes, sleep paralysis absolutely has physiological elements to it. It definitely has mental side effects to it. There's physical aspects to it, but that does not mean there's nothing spiritual about it. And likewise to the church, I'll say that even if you can 100% scientifically method prove that these are demonic entities, you still can't strip the fact that the body and the brain are experiencing this along with the soul.